Hi, thank you for joining me. Today I'm reading Never Apologize for Evolving Beyond People's Comfort Zone by Jason Gray. There comes a moment in a person's life when the quiet pressure to remain familiar becomes heavier than the call to become real. It does not arrive loudly. There is no announcement, no ceremony, just a subtle fracture inside you, a realization that who you have been no longer fits who you are becoming. In that moment, a choice appears. Stay understandable or become true. Most people are taught, directly or indirectly, to choose the first, to remain digestible, to stay within the emotional range others have assigned to them, to evolve, but only in ways that do not disrupt the expectations of those around them, because comfort, for many, is not just a feeling, it is a contract. An unspoken agreement that says, I will stay who you need me to be if you continue to accept me. The moment you begin to break that contract, not through rebellion, but through genuine growth, something shifts. Not always in you, but in them. When you evolve, you do not just change yourself. You challenge the internal structure of everyone who knew the previous version of you. You become a contradiction to their memory, and people are deeply attached to their memory of you, because it helps stabilize their understanding of reality. When you change too much, too fast, or too deeply, you do not just grow, you destabilize, and that destabilization is often misinterpreted as betrayal. Why are you different? You have changed. I do not recognize you anymore. What they are really saying is, you no longer confirm the version of you that made me comfortable. This is where many people shrink, not because they are weak, but because they are human. Because being misunderstood hurts. Because losing connection feels like loss. Because there is a deep instinct to belong, to be seen, to be accepted. They slow their evolution. They dilute their truth. They round the edges of their becoming so it fits back into the old mold. They apologize, not always out loud, but in behavior, in hesitation, in self-editing, in choosing silence when something inside them is ready to speak, and slowly they begin to abandon themselves in order to remain accessible to others. Real growth does not negotiate with comfort, not yours and not theirs. Growth is not polite. It does not ask permission to unfold. It is a force that moves through you, rearranging your thoughts, your identity, your values, your direction, until you either align with it or resist it, and resistance has a cost. You can feel it when you ignore your own expansion. It shows up as restlessness, as quiet frustration, as the sense that you are living slightly outside your own life because you are. You are existing in a version of yourself that has already expired. To evolve beyond someone's comfort zone is not an act of disrespect. It is an act of alignment. You are not rejecting them. You are no longer rejecting yourself, and there is a difference. A profound one, because the version of you that stays small for others is not actually available to them anyway. It is a performance, a curated echo, and while it may preserve connection on the surface, it erodes something much deeper beneath it, truth. Not everyone will walk with you as you evolve. Some will distance themselves. Some will resist you. Some will try to pull you back into the version of you they understand, not because they are malicious, but because your evolution highlights something within them they are not ready to face. Your growth becomes a mirror, and not everyone is ready to look. Here is the part that most people do not say. The right people will not require you to shrink. They will not need to apologize for becoming more. They may not always understand your path, but they will recognize your truth. They will meet you where you are, not where you used to be, and those connections, while fewer, perhaps are infinitely more real. You are not here to remain unchanged. You are not here to be predictable. You are not here to preserve a version of yourself just because others built expectations around it. You are here to expand, to refine, to shed, to rebuild, to outgrow, again and again and again. If your evolution makes people uncomfortable, let it. Discomfort is not always a sign that something is wrong. Sometimes it is a sign that something is real, and real things do not always feel easy. Never apologize for becoming who you are. Not the version that was convenient. Not the version that was expected. Not the version that kept everything stable. The real version. The one that required you to question everything, to walk alone at times, to release what no longer aligned. That version of you is not an inconvenience. It is the point. Because at the end of all of this, after the expectations, after the roles, after the identities you wrote to be accepted, there's only one question that will matter. Did you stay who you were to be understood, or did you become who you are meant to be? Choose carefully. One keeps the peace, the other sets you free. Jason Gray. Hashtag Winnipeg, hashtag Manitoba, hashtag Canada. This is something I recently went through. So this really spoke to me. It is, there's a lot to this when this happens to you, because it is a moment, for me, it came as a moment of, this is a boundary that I needed to set, and there was no question about whether or not I was going to do it. It just had to be done. It was like my inner knowing would not have allowed me to not do it. And it shifted so much in my life, but what it did was shift everything into, I don't even know. It made it so much more real. I guess I would say that's the best way to describe it, exactly as he said. It makes it real. So, you know, we think we're giving up things sometimes, but we are not. And boundaries are necessary. They are. Okay. All right. I think I better stop here for now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.